Okay, well, we're all warmed up. We can obviously take it more moderately from here on out. Sorry, I wasn't looking backward. What I wanted to do in the beginning was have no form whatsoever, which is what we just did. So we just walked and talked, or thought, or looked around. What else did we do? Anything else?
Got to know each other a little bit better.
Got to know each other a little bit better. For the next, like, couple hundred yards, let's all be completely silent, but not in an antisocial way. Still, we can look at each other, relate to each other. It's not, and you're not being serious either. Have a good time. Look at the flowers, do whatever you want, but just begin to pay attention a little bit to your state of mind. Is there a song in your mind? What's going on? Are you obsessed about something? Are you upset about something? Are you happy about something? Are you fully enlightened and you're actually the one leading this hike? And then we'll kind of compare it a little bit to what happened back there, which was just sort of a normal hike, right? That's it. We'll walk a little more. One thing we could just go around that you noticed that maybe you didn't notice the first stretch.
My mind was racing between this morning and this evening.
Busy guy?
Yeah. Just how lush it is up here. It's kind of dead in Fort Collins. It's nice up here.
It's pretty smoky up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed I was more in tune with my environment, so I noticed like the traffic noise and the music and things like that.
We'll speak up a little bit.
And I noticed that it was really green. I just noticed like what you said, the lushness, the moisture. And
Rain is good.
I was noticing or paying more attention to where I was placing my feet.
Busy. Everything was busy in my mind. Stuff going on down there. The rain, all this stuff was busy.
I noticed all the different wildflowers. Yellow ones, purple ones, light purple ones, dark purple ones.
It's beautiful. Lindsay?
I noticed a beautiful stream and that my mind was racing, and I guess the beauty of nature and birds singing.
So, I'll take all your answers as mine and cheat. But basically, the first thing I noticed was I felt more actually outward. Ironically, when we were talking, I felt less aware of where we were. Neither one is important. Neither one is better or worse than the other. But when I was talking, I was more connecting, as Alex said, with human beings and community and ideas and things like that. Now I think I was looking at my feet or downward a lot. And the second I shut up, I immediately looked up, heard the traffic noise. Who said that? Mm-hmm. The traffic. I heard all the noise down in the little town there, the village. I was kind of shocked by it, actually. I hadn't really noticed it before. And then very quickly, in the sort of opposite sense, I noticed the flowers and the trees, and I started thinking about climate change and the fires and all the greenery, and I started noticing just how my feet, partially because we were walking more slowly, how I was walking. So I'm going to talk briefly about walking meditation. Do any people, is anyone here familiar with walking meditation practice? So, in the Buddhist tradition, which is where I come from, I grew up in the Buddhist tradition, there's different forms of walking meditation, and they originate from the Buddha himself, who taught walking meditation. So the notion of walking meditation is actually more advanced. It's harder to do than sitting meditation, because sitting meditation, you're removing a lot of distraction. You have one point of focus. Generally, you're in a contained environment, which usually is pretty calm. And in walking meditation, you're obviously moving around, seeing different things. But the point is exactly the same. The point is to acknowledge and give space to your mind and your thoughts and what's going on, and to have a reference point to bring your mind back to the present moment. And since we can't really define what the present moment is, because it's, you know, you could say the present moment is God, it's limitless, it's everywhere, it's nowhere, it's inside, it's outside. If you believe in God, and if you don't, you can say it's sort of the fundamental nature of the universe, which is everything is connected and in some sense alive and interdependent and arising and falling apart and being reborn in some sense. So walking meditation is very simple, and it's incredibly slow. There's one form called kinhin where you'll see monks. There's an amazing video in Baraka, if any of you saw that old, it's like a 10-year-old film now. Anyone? Baraka? No. It's one of these like nature-y films showing like humanity and nature. And it shows this monk, and he's walking incredibly slowly, and it takes, you know, probably an hour for him to go 100 feet. And he's walking in the middle of a sort of Times Square kind of setting in Japan. And he, I think he's ringing a bell or sounding a drum with each step, something like that. So the idea is to, again, like, has everyone here practiced sitting meditation of some form? So meditation is really not spiritual, and I think that's important to put out there. It's, in the Buddhist tradition, it's considered as sort of basic as eating, or as pooping, or as sex, or as reading. It's really just an ordinary human activity. And that doesn't mean it's unimportant, but that does mean it's not meant to be, it's not mystical, it's not a holy, sacred, spiritual thing. It's really, one of my teachers, Sakya Nipam, says meditation, that Americans in the West understand that we need to take care of our body. Hopefully most of us understand that, whether we do it or not. We need to exercise, we need to eat decent food, but very few of us take care of our mind. So that's really what meditation is, it's just training the mind. So for the next little while, we could practice a very simple walking meditation. You can take the Zen mudra if you want, just so you have some sort of less distraction with your hands, which is your left hand in your right hand, and then your thumb in the middle of your left hand, and your right thumb over that. And you just put it around your hara, or your core, around your belly button, basically. And you certainly don't need to do that. Again, there's nothing magical about it. But if you do it pretty precisely. Don't do it down here or up here or whatever. Do it right here, your hara, about parallel with the earth. And look up as much as you can comfortably. Obviously there's rocks and things, so you look down occasionally. And really feel the placement of your heel in the middle of your foot and your toe, and then the transition in the heel in the middle of your foot and your toe. That doesn't mean we'll be going incredibly slowly. So we'll try and keep about the same pace, which might feel very quick suddenly because you're actually paying attention to what you're doing. Try and keep your head up again so your awareness is out. Enjoy the flowers, enjoy whatever you like, but really try and keep your focus of your mental attention on your feet and that very simple kind of rhythm. Does that sound like something we want to try? Great, thank you. So we'll just go probably just a little ways. Let's get in a little circle again. I don't know if it's useful. Does anyone want to say anything about their experience just now? Optional?
I'm good.
You're good? It's true.
More inwardly focused on my body, really. Like I noticed my muscles firing. My hands.
Yeah, similar. It was almost a little bit more inward, but also a little bit more complex. But easier too, because it was always able to go right to the feet. Any will not go to the feet. And And then that, yeah, started thinking about like other hikes I've done and then trying to bring it back.
It felt better. I don't know how else to explain it. It was just there were like I wasn't carrying this backpack anymore almost. But,
That's interesting.
yeah, so I was paying attention to my feet, I guess.
Right.
I
It's like in Seane Corn's class yesterday, she played these crazy 70s and 80s songs the whole time, so the class went incredibly quickly. I'm not really a fan of music and yoga usually, but it was incredibly fun. We're sort of very in the present moment, enjoying. She had us all sing, half of them. The class felt like it was 15 minutes.
Yeah, it makes me realize how much I have to train my mind. As quickly as I step my first foot forward, I would go somewhere else.
That's great.
I definitely had the monkey mind too. Yeah.
Just more mindful of my body and my breathing, as well as my feet.
So that's perfect. I wanted to talk about breathing next, even though we're doing walking, and that tends to focus more on the actual act of walking. Breath is probably the most fundamental foundation, to be kind of eloquent, of meditation, of both basic and advanced meditation practices. So often in the Buddhist community, and I'm sure in any sort of mindfulness tradition, any religion, whatever, where you're trying to connect, the first thing people notice is, or think they notice, is they say, I'm not getting better. People have this notion that they need to get better. I'm not getting better, I feel crazier. Because usually they notice their mind for perhaps the first time. We're practicing awareness of our mind instead of just being our mind. And being our mind sounds like a good Zen thing, but it actually just means usually you're caught up, Buddhism would say you're drowning in the waves of samsara, of trying to get ahead, of trying to push away any sort of pain or suffering or some jerk who is mean to you or whatever, and cling to or grasp anything pleasurable, which, as we know from relationships, often destroys the very thing that you're trying to cling to. So in Buddhism, there's three root confusions. That clinging, that grasping, that sort of poverty mentality, you could call it. Yoga people often talk about abundance. That's the sort of positive aspect of that negative feeling of need, where you constantly have to fill the vacuum inside of you. Aggression, pretty self-explanatory. Feeling like somehow you are powerless and unable to deal with a situation, so you strike out and push away and kind of give up in a way. And ignorance, which is often the forgotten one because it's less dramatic than the other two. Ignorance is simply just not caring. And if you think about all the people, say, at Wanderlust, they probably fall into those three categories, as most people in our lives do. One, people we're attracted to or like, we consider them friends, family, whatever. Sometimes those people move into the aggression category, where they're not being a very good girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, or your family members are driving you nuts at Thanksgiving, or so you want to push them away and be away from them. Or ignorance, and that tends to be where most people are. We're indifferent. They don't really offer us anything in our mind, and they don't offend us either. And once you can kind of see that, it makes everyone a lot more interesting. In junior high, I was a huge nerd. I was like a straight A student, and I'd skipped a grade and all that. So I had a real profound understanding of the sort of appreciation of people who were left out. And I was grateful for that. Skipping a grade sucked, but it gave me an awareness of people who are left out, and I carry that through to this day. At any party I'm at, you always see there's some people who feel left out or aren't connecting, or at a potluck or whatever it is. And those are the ones we're often indifferent to. And if you can reach out and connect with them, there's an incredible, it can be really fun and a rich experience. So I wanted to pause here, right in the middle of exposed, because there's a basic practice, and I want to emphasize, I don't care if anyone's ever Buddhist or reads anything Buddhist or cares about Buddhism or likes Buddhism. It's really not. The Dalai Lama, for example, has said, Don't become Buddhist. He said this in a talk in the West. Don't become Buddhist, honor your own life and traditions more fully. So none of this is meant to be religious. But there's a Buddhist practice called heaven, earth, and human. And we could try it if you like. Does anyone not like? And then we don't have to do it. But it's incredibly basic. Henry David Thoreau would have proved. So what we just did of walking meditation, did people start feeling their feet? And did people start almost feeling through their shoes to the earth, the rocks and the sort of the give of the mud a little bit? So let's stand as in yoga with your feet close together. A good relaxed posture. You can actually take a good basic standing posture. You can tuck your tailbone a bit, spiral inward on your thighs. Let your heart be a little bit exposed. Your hands can be relaxed at their side. You can kind of gaze forward. So this is, I'll just lead us through this practice, and you can follow along and do it and enjoy. You can do it any time in your own life if you're, it's a practice for incredibly stressful or exciting situations that you're about to enter. So the first thing is earth. So the idea is that you feel your feet connecting with the great, vast, heavy, resilient, strong earth below you. Feel that sense of earth that extends for thousands of miles in every direction, below and outward. And feel like you can relax into that earth, and it's dependable. The earth is considered the realm of, in daily life, of practicality, say paying your bills, answering emails, cleaning your house, doing your dishes, remembering to stop at a stop sign. It's very basic. And now heaven. So feel the sky above you. It's vast and limitless, goes forever in every direction. And stand a little bit straighter, almost as if you're opening up or pulled to the sky. And relax. And then the notion of human. Feel your heart, which is raw and incredibly vulnerable. Almost as if there's no rib cage around it or anything. Open, exposed to heaven above and earth below. Close your eyes. So when I say Om, you can feel your feet and the earth below you. When I say Ah, you can feel the heaven and the sky above. When I say Hum, you can join the two, heaven and earth, in your heart, and then exhale and open your eyes. Does that make sense? So I'll say Om, feel the earth. Ah, feel the sky above. Hum, keep your eyes closed, feel the two join in your heart. Exhale and open your eyes. Om. Ah. Hum. That's it. There's a further practice they use, it's called Yun practice, finding richness practice. The idea is that this practice cuts through your conceptual mind. That your mind is like a dirty windshield most of the time, and you're seeing the world, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your wants, your desires, your needs, your life, your job, your stress, all through your thoughts and whatever random song stuck in your head, and all this, you know, trauma, you could call it, from past relationships and memories and random stuff. And we were just at Congressman Tim Ryan's speakeasy. He was talking about the zone. whether you find it through athletics or through mindfulness meditation, that when your body and mind are completely synchronized, is what we just did, and then you let go very suddenly, the earth is newly available, life is newly available to us. So if you're ever stressed out or you're about to go in for an interview or a big situation, it doesn't have to be a negative that you're nervous. It could be that you're excited. You can just remember, just connect with the earth, connect with the heaven, which is the realm of vision or ideas or inspiration. Entrepreneurs are very strong in this area usually, but often somewhat weak in balancing that. And then connect it with your heart and breathe out. So the next time we could just hike, you can talk, do whatever, and then we'll do another thing. Most important part to me, and we'll turn around now because I guess we're relatively out of time. Let's make a little circle again if we can. We can lean down if anyone wants to kneel. That's totally great. I wanted to just go through formal, simple, basic meditation practice, which is probably the most important thing to my business and to my relationships and to my being able to function as a human being, to the extent that I can function, for those of you who know me. So the basic practice is usually done sitting, so I find it a little confusing to do standing, but I mean, what's the difference really? So I guess we can just take a good standing posture again and find a spot on the ground, say 45 degrees down, like 6, 7, 8 feet in front of you. Find a little rock or something to look at, and you don't need to focus on it much. Actually, let's just stop for a sec. Does everyone here have a meditation practice already in your life? A daily meditation practice? Daily? One?
Kind of sitting.
Not sitting?
No.
Right. But like some other form, yeah. So, Pema Chodron, a lot of these great meditation teachers will say you can meditate for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Does anyone not have time to do something for 5 minutes in the morning, at night, if it were personally important to your entire life and vital? Which it may or may not be, you can decide for yourself. Is everyone down with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, theoretically? So, this is more than a 2,500-year-old practice. The Buddha himself was actually a yoga practitioner, not to diss yoga, but he practiced yoga, various yoga techniques which are very different from what we're doing today. For 6 years, basically gave up, said none of this is really working. And that's when the good stuff happens. It happened for him, as often happens in our life when we finally give up or let go. Whatever naturally should happen naturally arises. So he sat down beneath what we now call the Bodhi tree. A lady gave him some kusha grass to sit on. Until then he'd been sort of punishing his body, not eating properly, just trying to be some sort of like spiritual superhero. And he ate some food, took care of himself, and that's when he attained enlightenment over the course of that day and night. Enlightenment is really not a profound spiritual thing, I'm told. I don't have much personal experience of it, but it's really, one of my meditation instructors said that I actually do have personal experience of it, we all do, that enlightenment is simply when you come to a red light and you're driving, that you stop. So enlightenment is really just seeing reality and reacting to it in whatever we deem an appropriate manner. So, yoga people love to always talk about how judging is a bad thing. On Elephant Journal, we love to rail about how judging is a great thing. If someone gives you poop on a plate, you would probably judge that not as a good meal. If someone gave you a GMO chemical-laden apple, you might say, there's nothing better, so I'll go for it. It's not horrible, but it's not great. I'll go for it. If someone gave you a organic tree and you could pick the apple off, you'd be like, that's awesome. So those are 3 judgments. That's just a very ordinary thing we do all day. Some of you, unlike me, correctly judged today that a rain jacket might be a good idea. That is enlightenment. So the point of meditation practice is incredibly simple. It's to take our discursiveness, our thoughts, I have a lot of them, and just acknowledge them. Not say they're bad, not say they're good. Thoughts can be good or bad or whatever. Whether the thought, as Trungpa Rinpoche says, is about wanting milk and cookies, something really wholesome, or it's about wanting to kill your, mom or loved one or whatever, like the worst possible thing, is really just a thought. So we don't need to put any sort of extra love or hate into our thoughts. We just acknowledge them when we notice them, and then we'll return to our breath. The reason we use breath is because it's pretty much invisible. It's the closest thing to nothing that we can use. The less that we use as a crutch for the present moment, the closer we are to the present moment. So you keep your eyes open in this practice because you're not trying to shut anything out. Is anyone miserable in this rain other than me? I'm fine, actually. In the Buddhist tradition, they say the 2 best times to meditate, best bang for your buck, is when you first wake up, you have a brief moment of sort of, oh, I'm awake, I'm alive, there's the ceiling, my neck feels funny or not, whatever. It's pretty clean slate. And then within 10 or 20 seconds, anyone stop me if I'm the only one who experiences this. To-do lists, things, songs, I'm angry about this, I'm happy about this. Does everyone feel that? The to-do list kind of mentality? So the idea is meditate right then, when you have that sort of clarity. And then at night, before you go to bed, you're about to dream. Does anyone ever have problems sleeping here?
Yeah.
I don't, but if you do, it will really help, sincerely, get yourself into a state of mind where you can just naturally fall asleep. And if you don't have problems sleeping, it'll almost directly affect your dreams. I'm not a big, I don't really care about dreams, but if you like to have happy dreams that aren't neurotic and aren't about work, I often dream about work, which I don't really enjoy. I'm not getting paid at night, and the work I'm doing in my dreams has no positive effect when I wake up in the morning. Nothing's actually been done, so I'd rather just, dream about unicorns and the usual kind of craziness. It's more fun. So, before you go to bed, when you're in bed, when you first wake up in the morning, 5 minutes, you can cut it down to 2 minutes. The real point is you might need to lengthen it to half an hour, but the real point is to meditate until you feel like you've connected with your breath fully, a couple times at least, right? Pretty basic. And I regard that as an anchor of sanity. So when I've sort of anchored sanity as a reference point instead of my own bullshit as my usual reference point, then I'm good to go, and I run around and do stuff during the day. And if you think you don't have 5 minutes, the amount of confusion and chaos you will cause in your own life when you're in a weird, bad state of mind is incredibly inefficient and time-sucking. So, basic meditation practice: sit in a chair if that's comfortable, sit on a cushion if that's comfortable. The general rule is that your knees should be below your hips, so be comfortable. Sit up really straight, and then relax. For all of you yoga types, good posture is probably going to be, you're a little more in touch with how your body works. But Buddhism also says 50% of your state of mind is dependent on your posture. So if your meditation posture is like this, this is boring, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. If it's rigid, that's not great either. So take a relaxed standing posture right now, feet together, or feet close together at least. Look at a point 6 feet off, or 8 feet off, generally about 6. You can focus on that point with a relaxed gaze. Doesn't need to be too, you don't have to glare at whatever poor rock got picked by you. And then just connect with your breath. Just breathe normally. Your mouth can be open, your eyes are open. And now just scan your body very quickly. Are your legs tight? If so, relax them. Is your butt tight? If so, relax it. Is your stomach tight? If so, relax it. Uplift and relax. Are your shoulders tight? Your hands, just let them relax. Your neck, even though you're looking down, don't lean forward with your neck too much. Keep your chin a little bit back. Now breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And just do that for a little while. If you need to fidget or itch, that's fine. Just do it rather mindfully. Have a thought. Has everyone here had a thought? Taking a little sample. I've had about 50. You just notice that and you acknowledge that thought. You say, hi thought, I just thought you. And you just say, thinking to yourself. You acknowledge it by labeling that thought as thinking. Good or bad, happy or sad, doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.com. Irrelevantjournal.com. Once you've labeled it thinking, let it go. Just go back, place your attention back on your out-breath, and ride the out-breath with your attention. When the in-breath happens, just let it happen. You don't need to focus on it too much. It's called touch and go, really light touch. Touch that thought. Thinking. Return to the out-breath. Let the in-breath happen. Thinking. Out-breath. Let the in-breath happen. I tend to have thoughts on every round of the breath, so I'm labeling thinking almost constantly. Just return your breath, return to your breath, your attention to your breath. If you have a thought about your neck, or what's happening next, or you're hungry, that's great, just label it thinking. Okay, so the final part of that is super important. You can take your hands together, as you do with the Namaste stuff, and Anjali, and you dedicate the merit of anything we just did. You can do this after meals, after yoga practice, after anything that might be of any benefit, and you dedicate it to others. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. You can bow. So that's incredibly important. We're not doing the meditation just to benefit ourselves and our selfish little egos, which want to take hold of anything we do and benefit by it. We want to give it away. So does anyone have any questions? I know I rushed it a bit because we want to get it all on YouTube. And that's what's important here. Hi, Mom. So, any questions about the practice? I know I skipped through it pretty quickly, but it's really simple. No? It all made perfect sense.
What are some good books?
So yeah, Cassidy here, Neil Cassidy over here, was asking about that. So on elephantjournal.com, I say in all seriousness, we have at least 2 blogs that are pretty good on this subject. One is titled Best Classic Beginners Buddhist Books or something, and the other is similar. It's like Best My Favorite Buddhist Books. So what I personally would recommend is anything that is accessible. Like, not many people on this earth want to become Buddhist or a Scientologist or convert to Catholicism or whatever, but we all want to be happy and be of benefit to the world. So pick a book that's pretty basic. I think Pema Chodron is amazing. Pemachudron, spelled out right there on the video. And I love Trungpa Rinpoche. I'm reading his Meditation in Action right now. Myth of Freedom is actually what I'm reading right now. And then he has a book called Training the Mind, which is actually what I would recommend almost above all of them, although I think Pema Chodron is probably a great first book if you haven't read much. Trungpa Rinpoche has this book called Training the Mind, and it has little slogans, a daily slogan that you can kind of focus on through your day, like be grateful to everyone, or drive all blames into one. There are all these interesting sort of slogans for contemplation, and then there's a little commentary. I have it by my bedside table, and have had that for 20 years, and you just open it, read a little bit, takes a minute, and it kind of gives you, you know, a little bit of intention for the day. And not many of us are going to read big books all the time. Training the Mind is, you know, a paragraph at a time. And that's all she wrote. So we can just walk back, have a good time. You can meditate, be solo, do whatever you like. But at this point, we've bowed out, so you're free to do whatever you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.